Welcome back to episode 32 of the Clean Kitchen Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kevin.
And the other day I asked you, my followers, what your questions are because we're doing a Q&A episode today. You guys love these episodes, so we're going to do this one again. We've been doing it, every 1 to 2 months, I guess, Kevin?
Yeah, about every 10 episodes, we try to sneak one of these in.
Yeah, so we got one here. We got 10 questions. These are 10 of the most highly asked questions that you all asked when I posted this on my story a couple of days ago. And let's jump into it, Kevin.
Question number 1. So we're going to start with deli meat. Specifically, Kyle, what ingredients should I avoid in deli meat and what ingredients should I look for when I'm buying deli meat?
I literally just talked about this on my story the other day, so maybe that's why this person is asking this question. But first off, a lot of people think that processed meat, because there's this misconception that all processed meat is bad, which is just not true in my opinion. But there are absolutely ingredients to avoid in deli meats and processed meat. 1, added sugar. We don't need it. 2, nitrates and phosphates. These are going to be the preservatives that are most commonly added to deli meats. Carrageenan is a popular one. We've talked about that before with nut milks, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
It's an emulsifier, which has been shown to cause inflammation in the gut. We do not want carrageenan in our deli meats. And then also another popular ingredient in deli meat is caramel color, which is the same thing that basically turns Coke and Diet Coke that brown color. And it's totally unnecessary in deli meat. It's literally just to give the appearance of it, I guess, a darker brown color, make it more appealing to us. But yeah, avoid those ingredients for sure.
Are those ingredients that you mentioned there, are those going to show up? Like, is nitrate going to show up as an ingredient on the back of the...
Absolutely.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. It'll say it. It'll say nitrates. It'll say, sodium phosphate, and then these different nitrites and nitrates. So that's what you want to avoid. So what do you look for? Well, it's super simple. Just look for meat. So we'll say turkey as an example. Turkey, preferably organic if you can get it. But even if it's just turkey, salt, and then maybe a little bit of water. Sometimes they need some moisture in there. And that's it. That's all you need to look for. And that is perfectly healthy. There's no way, shape, or form is that unhealthy if it's that simple of ingredients.
Do you find when you are at the store looking at deli meats that typically the ones like behind the counter, like I'm thinking of a Boar's Head where you go and request it, is better or worse than just the ones in the packages, prepackaged?
You would think they're healthier, wouldn't you?
I would.
You'd be wrong.
Why is that?
They're pumped with all of these same ingredients. They're pumped with these nitrites and nitrates and phosphates and sometimes even have these caramel colors in them as well.
Yeah, I would think that those back there behind the counter, that's fresh. Like those are good to go. But
I guess that's what they want you to think. But no, normally it's the ones that are individually packed are actually better.
The prepackaged.
Yeah, like Applegate is a good brand. True Story is another good one. And they used to have this one at Costco, or at least my Costco, they used to have it. It's called Dietz and Watson. It was just this organic turkey. It was so simple. It was such a good price. I think it might still be at some Costco locations. Unfortunately, it's not at mine. But yeah, there are absolutely good brands that just come in the package and that are not back there. There may be some behind the counter that are good, but I don't see those ingredients disclosed anywhere. So you would probably need to ask the person behind the counter. But yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess it's tougher to get those ingredients. Do you have a lot of processed meat?
No, I don't. I don't consume a lot of deli meat. No,
Deli meat.
I'd say maybe every once in a while I'd make myself a wrap with maybe some turkey and cheese in it.
Mhm.
But 99% of the time I'm not buying that.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't fill me.
No. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, because if I'm gonna have that, I'm probably making a wrap or a sandwich. And I mean, I can't say I really eat sandwiches, but if I'm making a wrap, I need to eat like 5 or 6 wraps to actually fill me up. Where I just rather, make a pound of ground beef.
Right. Yeah. Easier. I guess I like a sandwich every once in a while. If I were to have a sandwich and I got the right deli meat and cheese, what type of bread? I'm going to sneak in another bonus question here. What type of bread would you recommend?
Well, the thing with bread, you got to look for one that uses whole wheat flour instead of refined wheat flour. look for one that doesn't use vegetable oils, and it's also lower in sugar. Those three things, which we talk about all the time, are the three red flags. So look for one with whole grains, preferably maybe olive oil, and then maybe if they are going to use a sweetener, maybe look for something like maple syrup or honey or something like that. The most popular better for you alternative that I always talk about is Dave's Killer Bread.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely a better for you option. Some of the best options may be something like Ezekiel bread, which is actually sprouted. They use sprouted whole grains, which is easier to digest and actually contains some more nutrients than your average whole wheat bread. But that would probably be one of my go-tos. Then also Base Culture is another good one. It's gluten-free, low carb, made with all real whole food ingredients. But it absolutely is definitely, it is expensive.
Yeah. So I guess if you're looking for the right things between the deli meat and the bread, you can have a better for you sandwich that isn't bad for you, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, that is question 1. We've got our sandwich made. We're moving on to question 2. And you know what we need with our sandwich, Kyle?
What?
A snack.
Uh-huh.
Question number 2, what are your favorite high protein snacks on the go?
Oh, I like this. So I'll give you my top 4 protein snacks. The first one is going to be, and my personal favorite, beef sticks. Paleo Valley is my favorite brand. I think they taste the best. Chomps is also a good brand. Try to find one that's 100% grass-fed and just uses some real seasonings in there. That's really all you need. That's my go-to. It's super nutrient dense. It's super filling. It's high in protein and fat. It's actually going to fill you up. That's number 1. Number 2 is a protein bar. A few of my favorite brands are going to be Way Better Bar. I think they're actually out of stock right now, right? You checked on that?
That's right.
They're out of stock. Okay. So not at the time you're listening to this, they're probably out of stock. RX bars are a good alternative. Our dad loves RX bars.
Yep.
The only thing I don't love with RX bars is that they use natural flavors in there and none of the ingredients are organic. But it's still one of the better options out there. Absolutely. Just because of the simplicity of ingredients. Go Macro is another good bar. Perfect Bar is another good one. Actually, Perfect Bar, they used to have sunflower oil in there and they took it out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's a win. And Epic is another bar. That's like, I guess that goes back to the beef stick category, but it's like they have chicken bars, venison, beef bars. Yeah, that's what I recommend going for. Yeah, when it comes to the bars. I'm trying to think of another one, but and then number 3, pork rinds. That could be a good snack. I just saw these at Target the other day. High in protein, high in fat, gonna fill you up. And just look for simple ingredients. And then number 4, a protein shake. Look for a protein shake with, again, real clean ingredients. Flav City and Just Ingredients are 2 of my favorite brands. Really clean ingredients, really delicious tasting, and like I said, with all four of these options here, high in protein, high in fat, so it's actually going to fill you up. That's the key thing to look for. Look for these snacks that are high in protein, high in fat, that are going to fill you up, and not just super high in sugar and super high in carbs. That when you eat it, you're hungry 5 minutes later.
Right. Yeah. Looking at this list here that you put together, what I'm thinking about is when you're maybe at the airport or you're on a road trip and you stop at a gas station. The first 3 things you said, I'm positive I've seen at gas stations: beef sticks, protein bars, depending on which one you're looking for. Not Way Better Bar, but definitely RX bars, Epic bars. I see all the time at gas stations, and pork rinds are almost always at your local gas station. So these options are readily available, and they're actually, like you said, they're filling and they're good. Like that Epic bar, I love the sriracha chicken. It's got a kick to it. It's good though.
It does. Yeah. That one's really good. Yeah. That's a great point. I was just in a gas station the other day. I think I was just going to the bathroom or something. But I took a glance at the snack aisle just because I was curious. And there are some really good options. Like gas stations, and I'm sure it depends on which gas station you're going to, but they've come a long way. It used to just be complete junk. But now it's like I can go in there and I can probably find like 5 good options that I would actually eat.
Yeah, my go-to in a gas station, I get a Body Armor Light if I'm on a road trip, and then I'll get one of the chicken sriracha Epic bars, and I'm like, okay, I'm filled up, I got some hydration, I'm feeling good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got to do a video at a gas station. Wow.
Yeah. On the go. Okay, so we've got our snacks. I like those options, and the protein shake too. I know that that's not easily available at a gas station, but if you're thinking ahead, prepare a little bit, make yourself a protein shake before you go.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just bring, a couple scoops of the protein, put it in a bag if you're traveling or on the road, and then I mean, you could hypothetically stop at a gas station, buy a water bottle, and
Yeah,
just put the scoop in. Like if you want to do super simple.
yeah, that's true. You just got to be prepared on that one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I like that. Moving on to question number three. This is one of my favorite questions I think we have today. What is the best protein source if you can't afford organic or pasture raised meat?
This is a good question. So if I am thinking, if I had to buy something that was conventional, and when I say conventional, I basically mean non-organic, like this person said, non-organic, non-pasture raised, non-grass fed. I like to look at, we have conventional chicken, we have conventional beef, and then we have farm raised fish. Those are basically the three categories of non-organic, non-pasture raised. And non-organic conventional chicken is just super low quality in my opinion. It's really high in these omega-6 fats. Can't say it has a ton. I mean, it definitely has. It's high in protein and it has a little bit of fat. It definitely is going to have some nutrients in there, but the overall health of that chicken, especially if it's coming from, a factory farm where these chickens have no room to roam, they're eating nothing but grains, corn, and soy that have been sprayed with these synthetic pesticides and herbicides. That's getting in their body, and that's getting in our body. So we're basically consuming a not healthy chicken at all, which is going to translate to us, unfortunately. So conventional chicken is not my go-to option. Farm raised fish, similar situation here, because the living conditions of farm raised fish is just absolutely terrible, and unfortunately, they're going to be eating something similar to what these chickens are eating. So again, not a good option. So that leaves me with conventional beef. So non-organic, non-grass fed, non-pasture raised beef. Unfortunately, these cows are still going to be eating these grains, corn, and soy, but cows are different in that they are able to convert these polyunsaturated fats into saturated fats. So we're not getting the polyunsaturated fats from the grains, corn, and soy. They're converting it for us. They're basically doing this conversion process because of their specialized stomach, and therefore we're not going to be getting a lot of those bad polyunsaturated fats. And also, beef. When you just look at beef compared to chicken, for example, conventional, there's way more nutrients in conventional beef. So it's going to be more nutrient dense, more vitamins and minerals, higher in good saturated fats instead of polyunsaturated fats, and in my opinion, tastes better too.
Yeah, this reminds me of the full episode we did on what's the best protein source.
Mhm.
And we spent a lot of time in that episode talking about the ratio between omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. And that was really the first time that I was really educated on it. We've touched on it quite a few times, but we're looking for that 1-to-1 ratio between the two. And beef, by far, just at the conventional one, had the
Yeah,
best 3-to-6 omega ratio.
absolutely. Yep, and that's
Yeah.
that's why, like this person asked, if you can't find organic, or you can't afford or find organic, pasture raised, grass fed, yeah, conventional beef is my favorite option. And then also another good option here is going to be something like sardines or anchovies, relatively cheap and really good source of protein, really good source of omega-3 fats, and then also some other minerals in there as well.
Yeah, that reminds me, another option. Where would you put eggs in the mix in here?
That's a good point. Yeah, I totally forgot about eggs. I'd say if I had to rank these in order, I'd go beef number one. If we're going to include things like sardines and anchovies, I'd
Mhm.
go number two, and then three, I would go eggs.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that it's higher than chicken and then farm raised fish.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So that might be another good option. And same thing there. It's the conventional eggs are still okay if you're not getting the pasture raised.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, pasture raised is going to be ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a huge deal.
Okay. All right. So that is protein sources. That's question three. We are moving on then to question four. Kind of drilling down even further on meat. This question: Where do you buy your meat from? This person's thinking about getting meat delivered, but they
Mm,
don't know where to start.
good question. So I personally buy all of my beef from Wild Pastures. I've tried a bunch of different online companies. I've tried so many different beefs at stores, and this is my favorite tasting ground beef specifically. Their steaks and their ribeyes and New York strips, they're solid, but they're not my favorite. Specifically their ground beef. I don't know why, but their ground beef is delicious, full of flavor. It's 80-20, so 20% fat, which I like. I always go for the fattiest cut I could get just because that's where the flavor is. That's also going to fill you up. So Wild Pastures is my favorite. Butcher Box is also a good option. A lot of people don't know they also use 100% grass-fed beef. Their chicken is unfortunately free range, not pasture raised, but still a good option there if you want to go for that. It's a relatively good price as well, I believe. And then Thrive Market also has grass fed beef, pasture raised chicken, and wild caught fish.
Yeah, meat delivery seems to be very common. There are a bunch of companies out there that do it, but I can attest the Wild Pastures tastes much better than the others. I
Yeah.
like the Costco one is typically the one that we get.
Costco one's good. Yeah.
It's good, but Wild Pastures is definitely tastes better.
Yeah. I feel like when I have a lot of, so the Costco one too, the Costco one is organic. It's not technically 100% grass fed, but organic is definitely a good thing.
Mhm.
But when I try store bought grass fed meat, I feel like sometimes it's, I don't know, it has like a little bit of like a gamey taste to it,
Mm,
like an aftertaste. I don't know. I don't like it. But Wild Pastures does not have that taste at all, which is one of the reasons it's my favorite.
yeah, and then you don't have to think about it too. Once you get food delivered,
Yeah,
it's one thing off your plate. You know you're getting your meat every so often. It's gonna be there. You're gonna have it.
exactly. Keep it
Yeah.
in the freezer. You know, it'll
Oh
last
yeah.
like probably years if you wanted it to.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what
Yep.
I
So
do.
that's a good place. A good place to get started is testing out one of those, either Wild Patchers, Butcher Box, or Thrive Market are the top
Mhm.
3.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, moving on to number 5. This one hits home for both of us. Any tips for someone who just got diagnosed with Crohn's but doesn't want to go on meds?
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely didn't want to go on meds either, but in the beginning, I think it was so bad to the point where you were willing to do anything to feel better.
Mhm.
So I mean, obviously consult with your doctor here if they're telling you to go on meds, do whatever you think is best. But what I would recommend is working with a functional doctor because they're actually going to find the root cause of why you were even diagnosed with this in the first place. Maybe look at underlying um, vitamins and minerals that you may be deficient in. Look at your gut. Look at your gut microbiome. Do you have an imbalance of um, bacteria in your gut? Do you have mold issues? Do you have hormone issues? Like so many different things where I think, unfortunately, the average conventional doctor doesn't really look into. They're kind of just like, oh, you have Crohn's. Here's a medication for it, as opposed to taking a deep dive into that person's um, health and figuring out why did they get this in the first place and what can we fix to make you feel better.
Yeah. So for
That's
anyone
where I would
that
start.
doesn't, the good place to start. For anyone that doesn't know, Kyle and I both were diagnosed with Crohn's. But Kyle, for additional context, maybe give a quick background, some story on your own personal journey with Crohn's.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed in 2018, late 2018. Tried a couple of different medications, maybe saw short-term improvement, but my symptoms kept coming back, and that was just a lot of digestive pain. I had a lot of back pain and leg pain and just overall pain within my body. I was constantly tired. I didn't ever feel like doing anything. I A lot of problems going on. So tried a few different medications. Nothing really worked for me. Eventually had surgery. That did provide some short-term relief, but then again, the symptoms kept coming back. And that was kind of the last straw for me. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done trying these different medications. I'm done doing surgery. And that was when my mindset shifts kind of to healthy eating, healthy lifestyle. And that's when I became so passionate about this. So going off that, I think me personally, It started with my passion for food and nutrition, and I thought that was kind of the only piece of the puzzle. But over time, as I've learned more and more about just being healthy in general, I think there's really 5 things that you should prioritize on a daily basis to improve your health. And I'm going to start off by saying, yes, eating real whole foods is absolutely at the top of that list. It's one of the easiest things, in my opinion, that you can do and control. You control all the food you put in your mouth. So I think that's one of the easiest places to start. I like to think is just changing your diet and prioritizing real whole foods. And when I say real whole foods, I mean high quality animal protein like grass fed beef, pasture raised chicken, pasture raised eggs, wild caught fish, and fruits and vegetables. I mean, it's really as simple as that. If you want to have, some white rice here and there and have your organic oats that hopefully are glyphosate free, go for it. But in my opinion, really all you need is high quality animal protein, fruits and vegetables. So that's where I'd start. Start with that. Start by changing your diet. The second thing I would do is prioritize sleep. This is something that I did not prioritize for the longest time. And I think it's very, very powerful when you prioritize your sleep. And when I say prioritizing your sleep, I mean get to bed at a normal time. Try to get to bed before 11 p.m. Try to minimize blue light at night. Try to get in direct sunlight first thing in the morning and throughout the day. All of this is going to help improve your sleep. It's going to help set your circadian rhythm. And sleep is so, so, so important. And it's something I wish I realized sooner. Number 3, we have move your body. Even if it's just going for a walk, move your body on a daily basis. I have a trampoline out here on my balcony, and every morning I just go out there and I jump for a few minutes and look into the forest that my balcony overlooks. And it's just, I don't know, just it's fun. It's a good way to start your day. You're moving your body. So prioritize that. Try to move your body every day. Number 4 is going to be spending time outside. And I kind of already hinted at this with helping improve your sleep by spending time outside. But go outside, go in nature. Don't bring your phone. Just don't even do it. Leave your phone inside. Go outside. Go for a walk. If you want to bring your phone, put your phone on airplane mode so you're not even worried about it. You're not getting notifications or anything like that. But go for a walk. Go outside. Get in the sun. The sun is so important and so powerful. I think of the sun as almost a supplement. I mean, obviously you're getting your vitamin D, but there's also just so many other benefits you get from being outside and being in the sun. So prioritize that. Try to get into the sun every single day. And then the 5th and final recommendation that I have is reducing stress. People have their own methods of reducing stress, whether it's, playing an instrument or something like that, or I mean, even like I said, going for a walk is kind of almost a way of reducing stress. Find something that works for you. Deep breathing, some sort of meditation. It can be a 2-minute meditation of just being with yourself and just not being stimulated by our phones, by social media, by a TV show, by anything. Just try to be comfortable with yourself and without any outside stimulation.
Yeah, it seems like an obvious thing, I guess, but it's harder than you think it is, especially if
For
you are
sure.
used to having something constantly like grabbing your attention, scrolling through Instagram, watching your latest YouTube video, whatever it is. Go outside, like you said, without anything. Go even just sit in a room by
Mhm.
yourself for a few minutes and think. One of the most powerful moments of my day is just taking a shower because at that point there's no stimulants, there's no screens, there's no nothing. I don't put
Mm,
any music on or anything, and
mm.
it's amazing to me how creative I am in those 3 to 5 minutes in the shower compared to the rest of the day where I have a screen in front of me or something telling me what I'm doing or what I should be doing. I always cherish those few minutes where there is this complete disconnect from everything.
Yeah, I love that. I saw a video months ago and I started doing it ever since I saw it. I forget who it was, but he was basically saying there are 3 times where there are 3 times every single day where someone asked the question is like, "Do you meditate? Do you like take time to yourself?" And he was like, "Yeah, I do every single day when I'm doing these 3 things." And one of them was when he's in the shower. He
Mhm.
doesn't and I used to do this. I used to always put on music every time I went in the shower. But then when I saw this video, I stopped and now I take showers with no music, just literally with myself. I think
Mhm.
it's pretty powerful.
Mhm.
Um, so that was the first thing in the shower, no music, no nothing, just you being with yourself. Number 2 is when he's in the car, no music, no podcast, no nothing, just be with yourself. And that's something else I've started to do recently. Not every single time, but I try to a majority of the time. I just sit there with myself. It's very powerful. And the third thing, which again, I try to do whenever I can, but I'm not perfect about it, is when I'm going on walks. Again, no music, no podcast, no nothing. Just going out there and being with yourself and just implementing these things because hopefully you're kind of already doing these things on a daily basis. So you're not really changing anything. I mean,
Mhm.
I guess you are changing something because you're not listening to anything, but you're already doing them. So just do them with yourself
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just see what comes up. Super powerful.
Yes, you'll be amazed, I think, at your brain just letting it wander and seeing where it goes. It's like almost this thing where you don't wanna stop it. You just let
Yeah.
it go for a few minutes and see where it ends up. The other one that made me think of it is, like, right when I'm going to bed. There's no screens, there's no nothing, I'm just
Mhm.
laying in bed. I feel like at that time, my brain is at its almost its most creative. Like, I think about podcast ideas or ideas for us to bring on some new guest. Like, at
Mhm.
that point, just because I can let my mind drift and wander. So
Yeah.
definitely recommend that. Kind of a
Yeah.
long-winded answer there, but getting back to the question here around being diagnosed with Crohn's or honestly whatever it is that you're facing, those 5 things that you mentioned, I think are great places to start.
Yeah, I wish I focused on those 4 other,
Mhm.
items sooner because I just focused on diet. I thought that was it. I was like, "It's Crohn's, it's digestive health, it's diet. That's it." I don't
Yeah.
wanna like, everything else I blocked out. I just focused on diet, and yeah, I wish I prioritized those other things sooner because
Yeah.
they all go together.
It's all connected. It's
They're all
crazy.
connected. It
Yep.
is.
Yep. Okay. We're moving on here to question number 6. What are the best non-toxic pans?
So there are really 3 truly non-toxic pans, but first you have to be super careful because there's a lot of newer non-stick pans that are coming out nowadays, and we already know that Teflon is bad. This is one of the non-stick coatings that we used to use. Now it's banned. It's not You're not going to find it anywhere because of the chemicals that were in it and how unhealthy they are for us. So that's banned. But now there's these new non-stick pans coming out and they'll say, PFA free or BPA free, which is great. Those are 2 chemicals that are terrible for our body that should not be in our body at all. But the problem is there's just a lot of there's still a lot of chemicals in there that we just don't know. There's just not enough research done on these new non-stick cookware surfaces. So if you are going to use that, I'd say use it on super low heat and make sure you're not scratching the surface of the pan. So those that's the main thing. That's the main thing I would say. So just be careful. But the 3 truly non-toxic pans are going to be stainless steel, which is what I use for basically everything, cast iron, and then 100% ceramic. There's non-stick ceramic coated pans, which are good. That's kind of what I was just talking about. They're PFA free, they're BPA free, but there's just not enough research done on them. But there's also 100% ceramic, which is different than non-stick ceramic. 100% ceramic is good to go and non-toxic.
Within the stainless steel and cast iron ones that you mentioned, are there subcategories within those 2, or if is a stainless steel pan and there's no differences?
Yeah, it should be stainless steel. It's stainless steel.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing else added to it or anything.
Okay, good. So if
Yeah.
you see that, then it's a good option because I see a lot of stainless steel pans in like a home goods, and they're not
Yeah.
that expensive. So
No.
this is one of those easier swaps, I think, that isn't cost prohibitive to get into.
Yeah, they're very inexpensive and they're gonna last you years. these nonstick pans, you're gonna have to replace them eventually because, like I said, they're gonna get scratches in them, and then you really don't want to be using it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so those are the three: stainless steel, cast iron, and then 100% ceramic that you would go for.
Yep.
Okay. And I think you mentioned it before, but stainless steel is primarily what you cook like your beef with. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah.
And then steak,
steak
you'd use cast iron?
No, I actually use stainless steel for everything,
Oh, you
basically.
do? Okay.
Yeah, I cook my steaks if I'm going to cook chicken or salmon, beef, even my eggs sometimes. A couple of tips if you want to cook your eggs on a stainless steel pan. One, try to get your eggs to room temperature. This will make sure it doesn't stick. Same thing with beef too. If you're cooking up beef, try to get your beef or chicken or fish to room temperature if you're going to cook it in a stainless steel or cast iron pan, because it won't stick. It won't stick if you get it to room temperature. But back to the eggs. Yeah. So get your eggs to room temperature, and then also make sure the pan gets fully hot. So a test you can do. So you turn your pan on, you start heating it, run your hand under water, and then just like what is this? What is this called?
Splash them in the water.
Yeah, splash the water that you just got from the sink onto the pan. And if you see like basically little bubbles, then they'll like dance around kind of on the pan. That means the pan is hot enough and you're good to go. If you do it and it just sticks, if the water just sticks, then your pan isn't hot enough. So do that test. And that's how you cook eggs on stainless steel pan.
There you go. A little extra tip there. I like it. Okay. Moving on then, here we have question 7. What are the benefits / differences of using beef tallow or ghee over olive oil?
We talked about this on one episode. I forget which one it was.
We did. We've done a couple on olive oil. We've done a whole one on butter, which we may have talked about ghee in there as well.
So the main concern with olive oil, and I can't say it's my concern, but it's other people's concern with olive oil, is that when you heat it to high temperatures, it can oxidize. But what people don't talk about is that olive oil has a lot of antioxidants that kind of mitigate this oxidation effect. So I don't have a problem cooking with olive oil. I cook a lot if I'm making veggies or anything like that. I'll normally use extra virgin olive oil. But the benefit of cooking with ghee and beef tallow over something like olive oil is that ghee and beef tallow are saturated fats, so they're extremely stable when heated to high temperatures. So, yeah, they're just much more stable, which is why people are going to be recommending something like that. I cook all of my animal protein in ghee because it's getting a lot hotter. So I try to stick to the saturated fats when it comes to that.
Besides not oxidating at the same amount, what are the benefits to consuming ghee or beef tallow?
Yeah, well, ghee and beef tallow specifically, they're super high in fat-soluble vitamins. So vitamin A, D, E, and K, which are kind of like almost like the building block vitamins that we need. Like we absolutely need these. And they're very high in ghee, also butter and beef tallow. So you're definitely getting some benefits when you're cooking with those.
Yeah, so it's not just like a little ingredient. It's actually like improving the nutritional value of your meal when you're using those.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. Moving on then to question 8. This one is one of those teach me how to fish, not give me fish kind of questions. So I really like this one. How do you read nutrition labels? What should I be looking for in the protein versus the sugar versus fiber?
So if you follow me on Instagram, you know I don't pay a whole lot of attention to the nutrition facts on packages. I'll say this. Step 1, look at the ingredients, because that matters way more than the nutrition labels. I was just at Costco the other day and I was looking at this pancake mix, and of course on the front they advertise 15 grams of protein per serving and low calorie and all this stuff. And I turn it over and it's like first 2 ingredients are wheat flour and oat flour. Neither of them were organic, so they're definitely sprayed with glyphosate. And that's like the main source of protein, which is not a high quality source of protein at all. So step one, read the ingredients. Step two, yeah, if you do look at the protein versus sugar versus fiber, but even then, like it doesn't even matter a whole lot to me. I recommend getting these things from real whole foods in the first place. So protein, like I've said it like 5 times already on this podcast episode, but get your protein from high quality animal protein, beef, chicken, eggs, fish. That's where a majority of your protein should be coming from. Like I said, if you're gonna have these beef sticks or these protein shakes or these other bars as a snack, great. But your main meals should be filled with these high quality protein. Fiber. Where are we gonna get our fiber from? Fruits and vegetables. Real whole foods. That's where you should be getting your fiber from. Sugar. Obviously, if you're looking at the ingredient label, I want to see sweeteners like maple syrup or raw honey as the sweeteners, not cane sugar, not high fructose corn syrup. If it's a little cane sugar, it's not a big deal, but definitely not high fructose corn syrup or anything like that. Corn syrup. But yeah, sugar. I mean, if you need a sweetener for a recipe or you want to make something sweet, add some maple syrup, add some raw honey to it. That's a fantastic sweetener.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is ingredients.
Did that answer the question?
I think so. I think the takeaway is ingredients over nutrition facts.
Yeah.
And the front of the box, almost ignore it. Like whatever's on there.
You should.
It's just there to trick you. Unfortunately, go to the back, check out what is actually making up the protein or the sugars or whatever it is. But it also reminds me of like the bioavailability conversations that we've had too. Like even though there is 15 grams of sugar, how much is your body actually protein? How much is your body going to actually absorb of that 15 grams? Probably not all 15 grams, especially if you're comparing it with something like grass-fed beef, where you're going to absorb a much higher percentage of it. So there's so much more to it than just what it says on the front.
Exactly. That's a great point. People just see protein and then that's all they're focused on. Mm-hmm. But that was a perfect example. Grass-fed beef is going to have protein, but it's also going to have so many other nutrients and every single amino acid that your body needs to thrive. Whereas this wheat protein, this oat protein, first of all, we're not going to be absorbing all the protein. The vitamins and minerals that go along with it are pretty low, and we're going to barely absorb any of that to begin with. Also, you have the phytic acid in oats as well that is going to deplete your mineral source. So all this to say, yeah, don't be fooled by the marketing.
Yeah, we need a shirt that just says ingredients over nutrition labels. Just walk around with that.
Should make that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, we're moving on to number 9. Number 9 is, can you please talk about healthy pre-workout products?
Yeah, so the only real healthy pre-workout product that I know of is from Just Ingredients, and we'll leave a link to all these products below. But Just Ingredients makes a good pre-workout powder. I think they also make one that's caffeine-free as well, with some like beneficial amino acids and stuff in there. So if you're looking for one, absolutely go for that. I personally don't even use a pre-workout powder, though. I don't think most people need that. If you really want a pre-workout, I'd say maybe have a cup of coffee or something before you go work out. Hopefully it's earlier in the day. We don't want to be having a cup of coffee late into the afternoon. But one of my go-to pre-workouts, which we've talked about before, is I just take a tablespoon of honey and have that. Maybe have a banana to go along with it, and that's all you need. That's a great source of energy to help fuel you for your workout.
Yeah, because of the sugar. Is that why?
Yeah, the sugar is a fuel source. The glucose in there is going into your cells and giving your body energy.
Yeah. Okay. What about creatine too? That's what this question also made me think about. Do you have recommendations? Do you use creatine?
I don't. I used to use creatine. I've actually wanted to try using it again. I think creatine is fantastic. Really good for helping obviously build muscle. You want to have this. I think you want to have this more post workout. But really powerful in helping you build muscle, but also it's really good for your brain. There's been a lot of studies that show the benefits of creatine for brain health. So yeah, I'm a big fan of creatine. Just make sure if you're buying creatine, just make sure it's one ingredient. Just creatine monohydrate is what you want to look for.
Okay, so that's the tip there. Yeah,
creatine. No added sweeteners or artificial sweeteners, because sometimes you'll see that.
Yeah, watch out for that. Creatine,
Yeah.
I feel like I hear so many mixed things on it. It's
Oh, really?
the best thing for you or it's the worst thing for you. And maybe this was years ago when I used to use it. I don't use it anymore, but it
Hmm.
felt like it was always up and down as far as whether or not it was good for you. Pre-workout specifically, I used to take a pre-workout and that would get me jacked up. You just like your skin would feel like it was crawling, ready to lift everything.
Yeah.
It was something. I don't know what it was doing to my body.
Did you like that feeling or no?
Not really, no. It was I didn't like how I felt, but I liked that I knew that it was working, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, 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 it does. Yeah,
Mm.
I would always use a pre-workout in college because I would always go with some of my friends and
Mhm.
they would all take pre-workout, and that's when I started taking pre-workout. And honestly, the pre-workout, it did nothing to me but hurt my stomach every
Oh,
time I
no, you
did
didn't
it.
feel it.
I mean, nah, not really.
No.
No. Maybe like placebo effect. Maybe I was thinking it was doing
Mhm.
something, but I never really felt anything. All I would feel is halfway through the workout, my stomach would kill me. It'd feel like I want to throw up.
Mm. Yeah, that's not what you're looking for.
No. So I stopped the pre-workout.
Ditch that. I
Yeah.
remember one time I went to work out with our sister Carly, and I made her take some of the pre-workout, and within, like, 15 minutes is when it normally starts kicking in, and we had just gotten to the gym, and she started to feel, like, your skin crawling,
Yeah.
and she was like, "I can't like, we gotta go home. I can't do this."
Oh
And so
my
we just
god.
left the gym because it was so bad.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like 99% of pre-workouts. I don't
yeah.
recommend them.
Nope. So, alternative, to summarize, honey, banana, something else with a little bit of good sugars before you go, coffee.
Yeah, even also like even if you take some like electrolytes or something like that, you get you get your magnesium, potassium, calcium. That's going to help hydrate you and kind of fuel your workout as well. So
Yeah.
it's just getting back to just go for real foods, real sources of hydration.
Yeah, simplicity.
Hmm.
Okay, we've got one more question, but don't leave after the last question because we have two bonus questions about
Oh,
Kyle specifically that
oh,
you all asked that we want to answer. So stay for those. But question 10 first. What about bad, better, best baby food pouches? What do you have as far as recommendations there?
yeah. So there's a bunch of good brands when it comes to baby, toddler, kid pouches. In fact, one of my favorite brands, Once Upon a Farm, they just came out with these new A2 whole milk pouches. So it has grass fed A2 organic milk, and then it's got some fruits and vegetables in there, which is like fantastic. I also tried them. They taste amazing. You need to try these things.
Is it like a Go-Gurt?
Um, I mean, similar, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
you've seen like the pouches before, like the
I've
kids
seen them, yeah,
pouches.
but never had them.
It's like that. I'd say not consistency and texture of Go-Gurt. It's more just like a
Okay.
smoothie texture. So more liquidy, not as thick. But they're amazing. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
so
I need to
good.
try them.
I mean, they're meant for kids and babies and toddlers, but I was having one as a snack yesterday.
Yeah.
Uh, so Once Upon a Farm, great brand. They make so many products for babies, kids, toddlers. You can't go wrong with any of their products. All organic, all real whole food ingredients. They're just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about them. Another really, really good pouch brand for kids and babies is Serenity Kids.
Hmm.
They make not only fruit and vegetable pouches, but they also make pouches that are have grass-fed ground beef in them. They make pouches that have organic chicken, and they also have ones that have wild caught salmon as well in pouch form.
Wow. So it's
Yeah.
easier just for the toddler to digest.
Yeah, yeah, easier to digest and I guess really good for taking on the go as well.
Oh, yeah.
But like yes, these pouches are great. I love these brands, but really if you're looking to feed your baby or your toddler or your kid food, like just give them real food. Like you can make them some grass-fed ground beef and just chop it up really small. So obviously they're not going to choke on it or anything,
Mhm.
but yeah, just give them real food. Cut up some ground beef, cut up a little pieces of chicken, even put it in the blender if you want to puree it yourself. Um, Smoothies, you can make them smoothies as well. You know, throw some fruit and vegetables in a blender and blend it up. I think there's this misconception that we need to be feeding our babies and toddlers and kids like these baby food, but you really don't. Just give them real food.
Yeah, it's not like they're different animals than
No.
adults. It's the same complex from
Yeah,
like a biology perspective, they're just smaller and probably need more nutrients and stuff to grow. But yeah, the same foods that we recommend for ourselves should be consumed by everyone.
absolutely. Just make it, yeah, just maybe make it in an easier to digest way, like making it
Yeah.
into a puree or a smoothie type form. I think there are certain things where you definitely don't want to give kids. I know like raw honey, like
Hmm.
under the age of 1, you don't want to give your kid honey. I can't remember the specific reasons. There are a few nuances like that, but for the most part, if you're feeding them high quality animal protein, fruits and vegetables, who would have thought? Uh, then they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, if we think back to like early humans, it wasn't like, oh no, we don't have any baby food that we can find out in the earth. So yeah, you're not eating
Exactly.
today.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
was it was which animal did we kill that we're gonna
Hmm.
feed this to our kid, and which plants are in season, basically.
Yeah.
So think about it like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Two bonus questions.
Oh man, I'm not
Um,
ready. I wasn't ready for these.
no. So there were a ton of great questions, but by far the number one question that was asked was, Kyle, are you
Yeah.
moving to Florida?
I can't believe that was the number one asked question.
Probably like 6 or 7 times that
Yeah,
question popped up.
I did notice that. I can't say I have any immediate plans of moving to Florida anytime soon. A lot of you know I was just there for most of January and I absolutely loved it. I'm absolutely going to go back and spend some time there. Am I going to move to Florida? Uh, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I'd say probably not within the short term. In 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 a year or two, ask me that again. My answer could be totally different. I have no idea. Ask me that in 5, 10 years. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have a plan to. I'm just living out every day.
Yeah. So the mystery continues. TBD on
Yeah,
whether Kyle's
TBD.
moving to Florida.
Yeah, I guess that's what I keep on saying, which I guess is why people keep asking me. TBD. I don't know. Like, yeah, if an opportunity presents itself, who
Mhm.
knows? Maybe.
Yeah. Keep it open. Keep
Yeah,
options open.
of course. Yeah, I could also move to California, like just as easily. Who
Yeah.
knows? Probably not, but
The sun, it's the sun that you like.
yeah, I do love the sun. Yeah, I would definitely, and I know like people tell me people that live in Florida are like, don't do this, but like I would totally go to Florida and live in Florida from November to March.
Mhm.
Like no doubt. But people are like, oh, you don't want to do that. Like if you're gonna move to Florida, just do it. I'm just like, well, might just have to do it during the winter.
Why not? Why do they say don't do it
I
for
don't know.
just
They
the
say
winter?
like don't be like like the old people, like
Oh, like snowbird?
snowbird. Yeah,
Yeah.
like don't do that. Like
Mhm.
because apparently I learned this when I was there. A lot of the people that actually live in Florida, they don't like it when all the snowbirds come because there's way more people than there are other parts of the year. So there's just so much traffic and all this other stuff that goes along with it. So they're like, if you're gonna move, just move. Like don't come during just the winter. But
Yeah.
I might have to just move during the winter.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice there. Everywhere else is miserable.
No, I know.
That it's the place to be.
Just being back here in North Carolina for a couple weeks, I'm like, I want to go back.
Yeah. It's been cold.
Yeah, it's been
Been
cold.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna
All
look
right.
into the crystal ball again. This question that we got, Kyle, what do you see yourself doing in 5 years?
I definitely see myself continuing to do exactly what I have been doing for the last few years, but making content, posting on all social media platforms,
Mhm.
continuing this podcast, or now I guess we just started doing blog posts, you and
Mhm.
I together. So I'd say continuing to do that. Hopefully coming out with my own product in the next year or two.
Ooh. Mhm.
Yeah, that's super exciting. We'll stay tuned for that for more information on that. Um, but yeah, that's really all I got right now. Actually, unrelated to food and nutrition, I have been playing a lot of pickleball recently,
Oh, have you?
as you know, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep trying to pursue that. I have yet to play in a tournament or anything like that. I'm gonna try to play one in by the end of this month, but depending on how that goes, I mean, I really enjoy it, so I'd like to start seriously training. So maybe professional pickleball players is in my future. I don't know.
Wow. So, okay,
Yeah.
a lot of options here. It's crazy. 5 years doesn't feel like a long time, but I think it is because if you look back 5 years from today, it was 2019. You were just graduating college, and this didn't exist. Clean kitchen nutrition wasn't even a thought.
Mhm.
So it's crazy to think where the past 5 years have been.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, 5 years is not as long as not as long as it sounds.
Yeah. Yep. A
Yeah.
lot can
I mean,
happen in that time.
I've been doing clean kitchen nutrition now for almost 3 years, which is kind of crazy. Like, it seems like I've been doing it forever, but it also seems like I started it a couple months ago at the
Yeah.
same time. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
Also,
No
I mean, also music related things. You never know. Writing songs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So,
No
we'll
matter
see
what.
we'll
Yeah,
see what happens.
hobbies.
Yeah,
Continuing just to develop hobbies, I think
yeah,
is important.
yeah, absolutely. I always at the end of the day, I always need to unplug from my day-to-day stuff and sports, golf as well. Uh, and music are my two main things that I disconnect, and I think that they are important for everyone.
Yeah. Yep,
Hobbies,
exactly.
hobbies. That
Whatever
is.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta
yeah,
have something to disconnect.
yeah. Sweet.
All right. Those are all the questions.
All right, I think that's going to be it for episode 32 of the Clean Kitchen Podcast. Thank you so much. If you found this helpful, go ahead and leave us a rating or review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Thank you so much. We will see you next week in episode 33.